gentlemen. Actually, I'll make sure. I told them to be no right if they wanted to film it. Is there anything secured to see across? No. Okay, great. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Never done
Patience
that.
with me. It's a two-pager, so just bear with me. Office of the Sheriff, Consolidated City of Jacksonville. This is a memorandum that was issued last year. Memorandum 99-3, March 23rd, 1999. Subject, political activity and voting day encounters with pollsters or petitioners. Recently, and continuing through this year too, there have been questions raised regarding the response of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office to various free speech and political activities. This bulletin is intended to instruct officers as to the rights of political activists and to set law enforcement policy with respect to free speech and election-oriented activities. The First Amendment to the United States Constitution guarantees the right of free speech, which includes political activities and opinions that many citizens may find objectionable. It is the obligation of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office to guarantee the right of these political activists to speak while upholding public safety and order. Free speech can take many different forms, from a lone speaker on a street corner to leafleting to large political demonstrations and parades. All such activities are presumptively entitled to the protection of the First Amendment and to the Constitution of the United States of America. As a general rule, free speech may occur in any traditional public forum. A traditional public forum includes parks, sidewalks, public parking lots, and similar facilities. A traditional public forum does not include private property or government property which is not traditionally used for public speech. For example, a demonstration may be permitted in a park opposite City Hall, but can be prohibited inside City Hall where it might be disruptive. No permit is required for many kinds of political speech. Do not advise a speaker or demonstrator that a permit is required for his or her activity unless you have first checked with your shift supervisor or sheriff's office attorney. Of course, that's either Mr. Pritchard or myself. No permit is required for It is your obligation to protect free speech activities, demonstrations, and alike. This means that you cannot prohibit a speaker from engaging in First Amendment activities simply because a crowd is gathered which may oppose or even be hostile to the speaker. The proper course in such a situation is to call for appropriate backup to ensure the safety both of the speaker and members of the public. Free speech activity must not be terminated unless there is an incitement by the speaker to immediate illegal action or unless a crowd poses a physical threat to the speaker and sufficient backup is not available. If time permits, you should obtain the opinion of your shift supervisor or sheriff's office attorney before terminating a free speech/political event. As noted previously, speakers must be permitted access to public sidewalks, pathways, and roads. However, speakers must not block access to buildings or prevent free movement of pedestrians and vehicles. On some occasions, streets may be blocked off to accommodate parades or large demonstrations. In those events, the speakers will be expected to have obtained a street closing permit in advance. In all other cases, the speakers must not block public access. In the event a speaker or group of speakers does block access or ingress and egress, sheriff's officers on duty shall direct the speakers to clear a path, move back, or take other appropriate action to restore access. If the speaker does not comply, an arrest may be made or a citation issued as may be appropriate at the officer's discretion. The right to speak, communicate, and protest includes activities around polling stations on election days, and I think we have one September 6th, and one in October, and one in November. On election days, poll workers regularly encounter persons polling voters or seeking signatures on petitions. These petitions vary from petitions to qualify to be placed on ballots to petitions supporting various legislative initiatives to political demonstrations. It's important that the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, poll workers, and officers not deny access to the political process based upon the relative popularity of the petitioners or pollsters or the content of their messages. Therefore, to ensure uniformity in the right of access for all pollsters and petitioners, the following guidelines shall be followed. Consistent with Florida law, no person shall be entitled to poll, petition, demonstrate, or undertake any non-voting activities within 50 feet of the entrance to any polling place or polling room. And the supervisor of elections and the election poll workers all have that marked out pretty good. There's no problem with that. There are certain exceptions to the 50-foot setback rule, which will be determined on a case-by-case basis at individual polling stations in accordance with Section 102.031 Florida statute. No person shall be permitted to obstruct the ingress and egress of voters at a polling place. No person shall be permitted to conduct themselves in a disorderly fashion so as to obstruct the normal peace, quiet, and solemnity of the polling place. Officers are to strike a reasonable balance between the need of solicitors, pollsters, and others to communicate and the need for voters to exercise their rights free of harassment or pressure. Persons who use the area of ingress and egress outside of the 50-foot boundary to poll voters, to seek signatures, or to distribute literature shall be permitted to do so regardless of the content or popularity of the individual or the message. Where time permits, officers are encouraged to obtain an opinion from the supervisor of elections if a controversy arises at a polling station. Any question about the implementation of these guidelines shall be directed to either Larry Pritchard, who is the Sheriff's Police Legal Advisor, at 630-2120, or to Steve Rohan, who I am. I'm the Sheriff's Attorney with regard to most legal matters, at 889-1342. That's my pager number, and I'll get back with you immediately. This memorandum will remain in effect until such time as the effective orders are revised to reflect these changes. So this is the policy. Does anybody have any questions about it? Very simple? Okay.
Thanks, Steve. Sure, appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you to the tenant.